Hi, welcome to ResinChem Tech. This is the first in a series of short, quick tip videos for those of you who might be looking to start building your own smart home or home automation system. If you already have a smart home platform and have been using it for a while, this set of videos is not for you. In this first video, we're going to talk about goals and how to potentially solve issues you may already be experiencing with some of your smart home devices. For me personally, I've been a Home Assistant user for about 2 years now. But prior to that, I'd acquired a number of smart home devices, a doorbell, a garage door opener, a few smart plugs and outlets, and I soon started running into issues. And I thought, how can I solve these issues and what goals do I want to have for my home automation system? Well, what I found was each of these devices required an app on my phone, required me to create an account and a password with the manufacturer to be able to control these devices. And it wasn't long before I had something that looked like this. Lots and lots of different apps, some of them to only control one device. I might even have smart plugs from 2 different manufacturers that required 2 different apps. So now to simply turn on a lamp, I'd have to pull out my phone, unlock it, remember which app controlled which lamp, launch that app just to click a button to turn a lamp on. Not really convenient. And to mention the fact that all of these apps had to be installed on my wife's phone. And she happens to be an iPhone user while I'm an Android user. So the experience across these phones might not even be the same. And what about visitors and guests? Would they be able to turn on a bedroom lamp if they were staying overnight without having their smartphone and an app installed? So the first issue I wanted to resolve was to eliminate all these individual apps and find one application to rule them all. One application that would control all the smart devices in my home. And this app needed to be accessible from multiple devices. I didn't want to always have to have my smartphone on me to be able to do simple tasks like turning on a lamp. So I wanted this application to be available not only on mobile devices, but on laptops and tablets and touchscreens. In addition, it might be really nice if I can control these things by voice. The next thing about the app is it needed to be easy to use, intuitive, and understandable. Everyone knows how to walk into a room, find the light switch on the wall, and flip it on to turn on the lights. The home automation system ought to be just as easy to use and understand. If I walked into the family room and wanted to turn on a lamp, it ought to be as easy as seeing this button. It's pretty intuitive that if I tap that button, the lamp will come on. If I tap it again, the lamp will go off. So the home automation system needed to be as easy to use and understand for anyone that came into my home. And if it's done right, it will actually make things easier to operate and understand than the manual way. Have you ever gone into someone's home with a home theater system and tried to operate it on your own? There might be a half a dozen or more remotes laying on the table. You'd have to figure out which remotes to use to turn on which device, set everything on the right input, just to be able to try to do something as simple as watch TV. Now, what if there was a touch panel down there and all it took was a touch of one button, and that one button would take care of powering on the right components, setting all the right inputs. This is the idea behind home automation, is to make life easier and more convenient. My next goal involved privacy and security. Now, I'm not an overly paranoid guy. I don't walk around with a tin hat, but I am an IT professional. So I do have privacy and security in mind. And I use cloud services like Amazon, obviously Google and YouTube, as much as the next person. But these smart home devices are going to be living in my home with us every day. These devices, if they're cloud-based or relying on a manufacturer's server somewhere in the cloud, could be collecting copious amounts of data on our day-to-day activities. Now, do I really care if someone's watching how often I turn a lamp off and on? No, not really. But who knows what other kind of data is being collected? And this data might be collected on offshore servers that aren't applicable to US laws. So why not overly paranoid? And the fact that I didn't want to have to maintain and manage all these different accounts and all these different passwords, often having to give up my email address and possibly even my phone number or home address to these manufacturers. And this data could be breached by a bad guy. So I wanted to try to minimize this exposure as much as possible. Along with that, I wanted the system to be available and reliable. That's another thing with putting these services in the cloud. What happens if your internet service goes out? Do your smart home devices simply quit working? But what happens if the manufacturer closes shop and goes out of business? What happens to your devices then? This is not unheard of. Iris by Lowe's, Insignia by Best Buy. These were both smart home cloud services that closed up shop and went out of business. If you own these smart devices, odds are you were out of luck. Your devices simply quit working anymore. And even if a company remains in business and their service is currently free, what happens if they start charging a subscription? Are you willing to pay that annual subscription or monthly subscription? If not, once again, your devices may become worthless. Wink, If This Then That are a couple of services that were previously free that are now looking at subscription models. You either pony up or you have to start rebuilding your smart home. So for me, one of my primary goals in this was I wanted the home automation system and as many devices as possible to function locally. That means they're functioning on my network, my data is staying here, and an internet outage doesn't really affect my smart home. Currently, if my internet goes out, nearly 95 or more of my devices function completely normally. You'd have no idea that the internet is out. So to summarize, those are my goals that I had in mind. You'll need to consider your particular situation and what goals do you have in mind. We'll take these goals along with thinking about a few other things in our next video and look at selecting the proper smart home platform for you. Stay tuned, and if you like, please hit the subscribe button, and if you want to be notified when I post a new video, hit the notification button. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.